and just Ohio State to just keep it going. Keep in mind those are mostly freshmen there. They're all
Yes.
going to come. Most of them are going to come back next year,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah.
Well, I think it's also a bad luck on the draw for Wisconsin that they got both Michigan and Ohio State. Nebraska did not. Nebraska does get Ohio State. Now they get at Wisconsin and at Ohio State on back-to-back weeks, so that's going to be tough for Nebraska. And as you said, you know that is Wisconsin's way of getting to the Big Ten championship game because what can end up happening is they get end up both with two conference losses, and Wisconsin having beaten Nebraska head to head because Nebraska is going to Wisconsin, Nebraska is going to Ohio State. Besides that, they're going to take on a Purdue team this week who just fired their coach. Um, and then their back half of the schedule is home to Minnesota, home to Maryland, and at Iowa. Iowa is a team that in the West could kind of crash the party. We'll have to see how that plays out. I know everyone is looking forward to the East because everyone is probably has their fingers crossed, wanting Michigan and Ohio State obviously to win out. So then when you have that game, it will be must see TV between Michigan and Ohio State. And then, of course, all the trolling that Harbaugh did in the offseason of Ohio State. I mean, Harbaugh, that rivalry is always interesting. Harbaugh, just when you throw him in the mix of anything, it makes it even more interesting just because he loves to tweet people. So that should be good. In the Big Ten, that should be the Big Ten should be good. But just a few other games before we go to another break here. Clemson struggled with NC State. Um, your takeaway from that? Because I thought to myself, Clemson's been one of these teams. They have yet to click on all cylinders all year, with the exception of the Louisville game. It seems like Clemson is playing as a team that's not necessarily motivated every week, but they know at least with their schedule right now that they can win every week. I would caution them though. Um, they are at Florida State. I know Florida State has their problems on defense. You can't poo-poo those problems that they have, and Clemson can say, well, we can outscore them. Plus, that's probably a game they're going to be up for that is a night game. And then home to Syracuse, home to Pitt. Pitt will try to run the ball. Pitt can run the ball, flat out run it. And so I would suspect that this is going to be a situation when they play Pitt of saying, all right, we're going to run to try to control the ball. You're going to have to stop us. Then they're at Wake, and then they play South Carolina traditionally. I'll be honest with you. I would love to see Clemson play in the ACC championship game, and I would love to see them have to play North Carolina. I love that North Carolina team. I love watching them play. I know they had to slip up against Virginia Tech in the bad weather, and they have played so many big games already that I don't know if an ACC championship game against Clemson is too big of a stage for them. I mean, they went through a 3-week stretch where they played at Florida State and won, home to Virginia Tech and lost, and then at Miami and won. I really, really, really like that North Carolina team. Plus, their biggest, kind of the team that's right behind them is Pitt, and they've already beaten Pitt this year. So what was your takeaway from Clemson, and why does it seem like Clemson has been sleepwalking?
I think with Clemson, I mean, in my mind, they should have lost that game to NC State. The missed field goal, just if they had it, they would have won it. NC State had. I'm waiting. Maybe this team just isn't as good, or maybe you're right. They're probably just sleepwalking, and their mindset is okay. We got the weapons on offense. We got Deshaun. We got a couple other players. We can cruise through we got enough talent that we could cruise through a good portion of our schedule, especially on the Atlantic, because they've already played Louisville and beat them. They're gonna get FSU next in a few weeks, and maybe they kind of remind me of 2009 Florida in the sense that you got to think of that 2009 Florida team. They were returning everybody back from the team that won it all, and you just having that biggest target on you. every week, and you're getting everybody's best A-plus shot. Maybe it's wearing down on, maybe it's getting too Clemson. And, yeah, maybe Florida State hits them, and Florida State had a few losses, but I still think Florida State, as long as they got Dalvin Cook there, getting the ball to him in which way, Florida State definitely has a chance. But I think as a whole, Clemson probably gets them. The North Carolina, so I think they're in that 2009 Florida mode where they're just hitting everybody's shot. It's probably wearing down on them. If they can get clicking, they'll be great. As far as the ACC as a whole, it looks like North Carolina's in the catbird seat to win the Coastal. They just can't slip up. I think they got another game. I think they got Duke and NC State. A couple of rivalry games coming up, so they have to watch it. The worst part of it is over, but it looks like all signs are pointing towards Clemson, North Carolina meeting in Orlando for the ACC title.
Yeah, they do. And the game that would, if I were just taking a look at the schedule, they need to take care of business at UVA this week. UVA is such a well-coached team. Right now, it's just a little bit of a talent gap there, as Bronco brings in his people. But they're going to be good. He's going to turn that thing around. I'm not going to say they're going to win, be perennial ACC champs or anything, but he'll turn that thing around. And what you said, at Duke, and then they end up in a rivalry game against NC State the last week. And that could be one of those games that's 45-41. I'm telling you. That could be off the chain for anyone who's going to that game. But we're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into the NFL a little bit. We only have a little time left, but we're going to get a little bit into the NFL. You're listening to Making the Cut.
What fuels you? Try Total Package Energy Shot. This is Coach Aaron from ASTI. Total Package Energy Shots are made with less caffeine and more natural ingredients. This means less energy is spent on the jitters and the shakes, and more fuel is there for your workout, your alertness, your competition. Log on to TotalPackageEnergyShot.com and use the code NBS for exclusive deals. That's TotalPackageEnergy.com.
Joe Cardoza here, founder and CEO of NutsandBoltSports.com. What's Nuts and Bolts Sports, you ask? It's a sports blog written by fans and covers every sport known to mankind. Check out NutsandBoltSports.com. Follow us on Twitter at NutsandBoltsSP, like us on Facebook, and check out our podcasts, The Football Show, Buckets and Dimes, and the NBS Sports Hour. Nuts and Bolts Sports, definitely not the same old. We eat, sleep, and drink sports. All the sports.
This is WBLZ Sports.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Whether it be your industrial, commercial, or residential needs, Gen Service is the electrical contractor for you. The Gen Service team has the expertise, commitment, and educational years to help you solve your electrical concerns. They have you in their best interest with helpful suggestions to accommodate your every want. Give them a call no matter the size of the job at 740-438-7173. And mention WBLZ Sports, you will get a discount. That's Gen Service, 740-438-7173.
This is the County Fantasy Sports Podcast. I'm Hayden Gibson.
I'm Jerry Chastain.
Do you find yourself wondering who to start in the flex or what to do about a bye week situation? Listen to the County Fantasy Sports Podcast every Wednesday at 5 and Friday at 6. Jared, what's the motto around here?
Let us be your scapegoat.
So be sure to tune in.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Nick Piccarelli. I am the mad scientist of sports. Join me and the rest of the Inscriber Radio Network live on WBLZSports.com, where we got balls.
Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing. He has over 30 years of painting experience. He's interior, exterior, commercial, or residential. Doug Peffer covers it all. Is your house looking ugh? We'll call on Doug. Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing, 404-966-3361. Mention WBLZ Sports and get a special We've Got Balls discount. That's Doug Peffer Painting and Pressure Washing, 404-966-3361.
Welcome back to Making the Cut. I am your host, Marcus Mook Washington, and Brandon. We only have a few minutes left, really, really short, but I wanted to give you a chance, definitely, to talk about your Jacksonville Jaguars, who pulled off the 17-16 victory over the Bears, scoring all 17 points in the fourth quarter. How happy were you to get off the snide?
Yeah, well, it was, they won. I don't think, I mean, it was a good comeback. I mean, they played well in the second half. Just a lot of things in the first half that sort of rankled me. Again, it's coaching. It's just coaching. Bortles has regressed. The team as a whole has regressed. And mostly it's part Bortles, also part coaching as well. But for them to come back as they were after a bad performance, that helps towards confidence. To let you know the fact that, hey, they would come back and win. So that really helps. Play your boys next week. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and speaking of the Raiders, who certainly struggled in their game yesterday against Kansas City. Again, the problems with the Raiders are on defense. They cannot stop anyone from running the ball. They cannot stop anyone from passing the ball. And then when they turn the ball over, it's even worse. Yesterday, it was just another chapter in the fact that Derek Carr has struggled against the Chiefs, and it's being pointed out that he is struggling against a lot of the better teams throughout his career, and it's kind of starting to get the rep as he's the quarterback that wins games that, the team is quote-unquote supposed to win. So we'll see where he goes from there. It was a disappointing day for the Raiders, but they're still 4-2, and they need to take care of business. When you look at their schedule, it's going to start getting hairy for them. Here in Jacksonville, this is another time where the Raiders are going to be traveling to the Eastern time zone and playing a 1 o'clock game. So I wouldn't take anything for granted. And then the next week, Oakland comes back to the East Coast to play the Tampa Bay Bucks. So now you're wondering if this is a situation where Oakland will just stay in Florida and not come all the way back to the West Coast. The schedule makers have not done Oakland any favors, and then they have the Broncos, the Texans, the Panthers, who they aren't who we thought they were. The Bills, who are a good team, they still have to go to the Chiefs, still have to go to the Chargers, and then their last game, they have the Colts, and then they have the Broncos. The thing about the Raiders with their scheduling, not only all these games where they have to travel to the Eastern time zone, their last 3 division games, which is 3 of the last 4 games of the season, are all on the road. And that's going to be telling for that team. But again, I was happy to see Jacksonville win. I mean, the idea that they have put together back-to-back wins was something that I don't think too many people at the beginning of, just a couple weeks ago thought would happen. So I just definitely want to give you a chance to say congratulations. And I hope that they don't win next week, but I hope that they win the other weeks. But we are plumb out of time. As usual, join us on Monday nights. If you can't join us live, we post a link where you can listen to us later. I want to thank the people at WBLZ Sports, Nuts and Bolts Sports. You have been listening to Making the Cut. Have a good evening.
Indeed.